everybody, welcome back to What the Fish. Today we're going to look at the red cherry shrimp experiment. Hey guys, I know it's been a while. I just wanted to catch you guys up on a few projects I've been working on here. So this was my guppy grow out tank. It's also an experiment tank. So I guess about 2 months ago, more or less, I ordered some shrimp. If you've ever heard of the YouTube channel Loop Diesel, Rob Flip Aquatics is his website. I ordered 20 cherry shrimp from him. Now, the bulk of my information on cherry shrimp actually came from his YouTube page. I did do some other research, and it's kind of what led to my little shrimp experiment I've got going on right now. So this is my guppy grow out tank, and Aquarium Co-op also does some videos that have guppies and cherry shrimp in them together. So he suggested that you kind of get the guppies in there first so they start pooping, because their poop is kind of food for the shrimp, to put it in, I guess, the crudest possible terms. So what I did is I took 3 female guppies and 1 male, and a couple of snails, some java moss, a few plants, and threw them in this tank. I had moved my cichlids out of here, and I bought a mate for one of my bristlenose plecos. Now this tank, I kind of tried to model it after a tank I saw on another channel, breeding for profit video, where they were breeding plecos, guppies, and cherry shrimp. So my plan was to kind of emulate that on a smaller scale. This is only a 29 gallon. It's in my bedroom right next to my bed. And I use tap water. I don't use any type of special water in it. It has a relatively high pH. Usually actually runs 7, 8. So what I did is, when I got the shrimp from Rob, I split them 10 and 10. I was really kind of surprised when I got them. They were really small. I'm actually really grateful that they were small now, because from my understanding, the smaller shrimp acclimate better. And I actually had some Bloody Mary shrimp in this tank originally that didn't make it for whatever reason. But I put 10 in here, and then I put 10 in another tank I'll show you in a little while. And like I said, this one's running on tap water, heavily planted, just because pretty much everything I read said that, just like guppies when they have babies, when shrimp have babies, they need some place to kind of like hang out and be safe. So all this moss you can see all across the bottom in here provides just that. You know, some place for the babies to hang out and hide. It also provides surface area. So shrimp's main diet, and again, this is all just from my own research and my own understanding, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but they survive primarily on biofilm. So the more surface area you have, the more biofilm you can grow, the more food you have for your shrimp. And like I said, it's been, give or take, 2 months since I got these shrimp. Now let me see, it is hard to find them in here, but if you look up here, you can see one of the originals back in that pile of moss. And again, it is very difficult to see them because these tanks are heavily planted. Whenever I walk around the tank and the floor creaks, they kind of get spooked and go deeper into hiding. But you can see some of the originals. So those are full size, full grown. But I also have 2 more generations behind those. And for only having the shrimp for 2 months, it's kind of cool how quickly they reproduce, and how awesome the little guys are. When they're first born, they're so tiny. I was sitting here one night watching my tank, which I often do, and all of a sudden what I thought was an algae spot on the glass moved, and it was a baby shrimp. So I don't know if the camera will catch it, but right there, kind of centered on the front glass, there's a baby shrimp. They are just so tiny. But then I have some middle sized ones as well. So I did hear stories that, you know, the YouTube channels that talk about shrimp overemphasize the ease with which you can breed them. I did have a failure to start with. I started out with 4 blood red or Bloody Mary shrimp, and they all died. But this time, of course, the plants are much more established in the tank than the original 4 I put in as well, and I've done a lot more research too. But mostly the conditions are the same. The environment's the same. It's just, you know, I don't do anything special. In fact, on this tank, it only gets a water change about once a month. I top it off, but I don't change the water because the nitrates are low. The plants are taking up the nitrates, and you can't really see it. But I also have pothos growing out the top, and those big stems are 2 mangrove seeds, which are notorious nitrate suckers, I guess you could call them. So that's helping as well, I'm sure, keeping nitrates down. But I also have the 2 sponge filters, which at any given time you can look over and see 15 or 20 shrimp in between all the little layers of the filters. So yeah, so this is one half of the experiment, which was basically just a set it and forget it system with guppies, plecos, bristlenose plecos, and snails and shrimp. So next I'll show you the other half of the experiment, where I followed another path of logic that says if you use RODI water, which since I have a saltwater tank as well, I have an RODI system, so I have the water accessible, you know, it doesn't cost me anything extra to make it, and you control what goes into it by making GH and KH additions to that water and remineralizing it, that works as well or better than using tap water with shrimp. Oh, here's a couple of them coming out. Let's see if I can catch them there for you. The bigger guys are starting to come out because I've been sitting here for a while. No floor creaks to scare them back in, but they're pretty cool little guys to watch. And the longer I sit here, the quieter it is, the more everybody comes out. You can see all the baby guppies come out. And now the original 4 guppies that I put in here, the 3 females and the male, I took them out. They breed plenty from the time they're born, so I didn't think it was necessary, and I put them back in. I have a fraternity tank that's all male guppies and a sorority tank that's all female guppies, and I just wanted to see how quickly these guys would breed out and kind of overfill the tank with guppies because it's pond season and I want to try some pond guppies. Alright, so let's go look at part 2 of the shrimp experiment. So here is the other half of the shrimp experiment. As you can see, much smaller scale. This is a little 1.5 gallon fish bowl. Sits right next to my computer so that I'm always looking at it. Again, pretty heavily planted. This actually started out originally, it was just plants and snails. As you can see, I have an abundance of snails in this tank because there's no predators in there for them whatsoever, so they are running rampant in here. This is where the other 10 cherry shrimp went. So now, again, heavily planted, very hard to see them most times. But in here, it's a lot easier to find the babies, usually, because they'll cling to a piece of the guppy grass right near the front glass somewhere. But, of course, because I'm trying to find them, that's not going to be the case. But needless to say, in here as well, I have 3 generations already of cherry shrimp. For some reason, the ones in this tank, this is the tank I told you I use RODI water and I remineralize. For some reason, the shrimp in here aren't very colorful. I don't know why it is or what, if it has to do with the remineralization and using that type of water. But they definitely aren't as red as the ones in the other tank. The difference in this tank, of course, there's 2 species that are missing. There's no bristlenose pleco, and of course there's no guppies. So it's just shrimp and snails and plants. And again, there's one of those mangrove seeds, some guppy grass, and a whole lot of Java moss. The Java moss started with a couple of strings, and the guppy grass, same thing, a couple of strings, and it's just filled the tank very nicely. I think it looks really nice. And of course the sponge filter, make sure that the water continues to circulate, doesn't become stagnant or anything like that. So yeah, and then these guys have a neighbor project that was, I was in Walmart one day and I saw this thing. They're triops. About a week, maybe a week and a half ago. And I bought it, got home, put them in the tank, did what the directions said, and nothing. So I did a little bit of research on them, and I found that the eggs are in sort of like suspended animation until the right conditions are reached. So that's what happens when the right conditions are reached within a week of hatching. If any of you are from the beach or the shore and you know what a horseshoe crab is, they look like exactly like little tiny horseshoe crabs, except that, let's see if we can get close enough up on one of these guys. I don't know if you can see it, they have a split tail. It's like a 2-pronged tail. Unlike a horseshoe crab, which of course has that long, pointy single tail. But they're pretty cool little guys too. I don't know how long they'll last. I don't know if they'll breed. I don't know a whole lot about them. Like I said, I saw them on a shelf at Walmart, and one of the ways I keep the hobby fresh for myself is I try new and different things and see what happens. So, like I said, I put them in, like the direction said, did what it said, and nothing for a few days. Then I had this little clip-on LED light sitting around. And I put that on here. And within 24 hours, I saw the first one of these little guys. No, I think there's 3 of them in there, chugging around. But they're pretty decent size. And like I said, they look just like miniature horseshoe crabs. Oh, and when I added the light, I also added a little bit of new water that I added GHKH to try and make sure that there was calcium in there, because they look like they have an exoskeleton.